Yes, people, welcome back to Thai Sports Talk. It's been another tough weekend, guys, man. I've got to be real about it. Man United losing to Tottenham again. 3 games in a row, I believe that's we've lost to Tottenham this season. Yeah, one in the Carabao, one at home, one away from home in the league. But I just want to try and restore some calmness, restore some order because look, at the end of the day, football is football, and fans are going to have their opinion on whether they like a manager or not, whether they think a manager is going to succeed or not. And look, I've had some people in my group chats already say, look, Ruben Amorim should be gone in the summer. People are starting to turn on him a little bit. But the first thing I'm going to say is, look, I'm going to give this manager a chance. And I know people might say, oh, you always give a manager a chance. Look what you did with Ten Hag. No, I'm truly going to give Ruben Amorim a chance. I am, because I do believe that he is changing a lot of the football club. Ineos are trying to change a lot of the football club, obviously both on it and off it, as we're seeing with redundancies and so forth and whatnot. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about Ruben Amorim and Man United, the football team. And look, if someone said to me when he came into the football club, would I expected Ruben Amorim to have a better start than what he has? Yeah, the truth is I would have. You know, Amorim's had 29 matches, won 9, drawn 3, and lost 9. It's obviously not the greatest in terms of obviously his record at the moment, you know, in the league, which is obviously the bread and butter, which is what a lot of people focus on, which I totally understand. That is where you show your consistency, where people can see if a manager's progressing. United have won 4, drawn 2, and lost 8 of Amorim's 14 Premier League matches. So that's a lot. We've lost more than 50% of Amorim's games in the league. Some of them have been bad defeats, and some of them have been marginal defeats, like the example of yesterday. Guys, like, the truth for me is Amorim didn't coach a loss yesterday. Amorim coached a football match where Man United should not have walked out of that game against Tottenham Hotspur with a defeat. I'm sorry, no way. That game for me was on the attackers. That game for me yesterday was on the attackers. Garnacho has to be burying that chance. Garnacho has to be better with decision making. Garnacho has to be using Dorgu on the left-hand side that made so many runs. But of course, they haven't formed that relationship yet. Rasmus Højlund, you need to be doing more in the final third. I'm happy for you to leave the club. I just don't think you're good enough. And Joshua Zirkzee was the best attacker on the pitch. I thought Zirkzee was showing very good parts to his game of the link up, the hold up, the confidence in his game, putting it through a few people's legs and passing it out wide and switching play. I thought Zirkzee had a very good game yesterday. He didn't deserve to be on a losing side. But, you know, what more could have Amorim done yesterday, guys? Except the one criticism was maybe make a sub early and bring on Chido Obi in maybe the 70th or 75th minute. That's what he could have done. That's fine. He could have done that, and I could hold my hands up and say, yeah, maybe just throw on a striker and change it. But maybe he felt with the way Man United were playing and the way we were getting chances in the second half or dominating in the final third, we will finally break them down. And he didn't maybe want to throw in a youngster into the game a bit too early. But I don't think there was much you could have lost from it. I think you would have gained from it if you bring him on, show that your intent is to get an equaliser, and also then what if he did score and he got a chance? I think throwing him on with 3 minutes to go is not the right decision from Amorim, really, if I'm totally honest. He got that one wrong. But in terms of the game, Man United were better than the Spurs, I thought. If you said to me, pick a winner, I thought Man United deserved to win it more than Spurs did. But we definitely shouldn't have lost that game. But again, it piles the pressure on Ruben Amorim, losing 50% of his games or more. You know, when we're in 15th in the league, the lowest that I've ever seen Manchester United in my years growing up in the Premier League. Never have I seen us 15th. And you take out the bottom 3 teams, which are Leicester, Ipswich, and Southampton, then really we're basically second from bottom because you've got Wolves, West Ham, and us. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Do I think Ten Hag would have us in this position? I probably don't, because he's had more time with these players. Like, I can admit that I don't think Ten Hag would have us where we are in 15th. But do I think Ten Hag would have us much better? No, because for me, if Man United are 10th or 15th, there's not much difference. They're both not good enough. So I'm not going to hear and do point charting of, oh, okay, I don't think Ten Hag would have us 15th, but I think he might have us 10th. But there's no difference because 10th and 15th are both crap. I don't want Man United to be there at all. So I think ultimately, what it comes down to is, am I willing to give Amorim the time? 100%. I am willing to give him time. Yeah, look, I think Man United in hindsight should have sat Ten Hag in the summer and given Amorim the whole summer a bit of a pre-season as well to then come into the team and hopefully bring in some players that he wanted to bring in as well. But, you know, the situation is the situation, and Man United had to make the decision in November and bring in Ruben Amorim. And right now, for me, I am willing to be patient because he's getting to see what players he wants to have in the future. He hasn't really got the money to invest right now. But what I think I take from Ruben Amorim is, yes, the results aren't great, and some could have gone our way. Some we've got a bit lucky and fortunate with. It's not great. The form is not great. Man United are not winning games, and it's not great to see. Even though our form over the last 8 games has been okay, it's not been amazing. But I feel like the long-term benefits of Man United now having a manager like Ruben Amorim in, I hope will start to shine next season. Because right now he's going to be filtering out the squad. He's going to be knowing what players he wants to keep, what players he wants to get rid of. And then hopefully the club right now with Jason Wilcox, Christian Vivell, Omar Barada, they're going to be looking at young, dynamic, energetic players that suit the system of what Ruben Amorim wants to put in place. Because there's moments and spells where I watch Man United and I'm like, oh, this is quite nice. This is good. We just lack that consistency. We lack that quality. That's what Man United don't really have right now. We're lacking quality. Ruben Amorim's persisting with the idea of the 3-4-3, and I'm glad that he is, because a lot of managers could fold and then change it and divert back, and then all of a sudden it shows that you're giving up and you're being weak. But no, he's standing on his principles, whether we're win, losing, or drawing games, and he's seeing if these players can get better, these players can improve, and also the ones that can't, you're going to leave and we're going to bring players in. And look, that's what it's got to be for me. Man United fans have screamed for years that we want, you know, a style of play. We want a proper plan. We want to know what we're going to be seeing on the pitch. Well, if you want that change, you've got to be willing to be patient with that change. That's the truth. Because I remember when we had Jose Mourinho and we won the Europa League and Carabao Cup, I wanted Jose Mourinho gone still because I just didn't believe in it, even though he won the trophies. Erik ten Hag, I believed in it longer than others, but I could see that it was kind of done. But he won an FA Cup. He won a Carabao Cup as well. Ollie was probably one of the managers that gave me a bit more belief than even Mourinho and Ten Hag, just because he had the players on board and he was producing a really good spell for a longer period of time. But that the wheels fell off there. So we've gone to a real reset, a new formation, a new structure at the football club. Things are not just going to happen like that. You know, Amorim told us that the storm was going to be here, and we're going through that storm now. And it's whether players and fans are going to stick with that storm and say, right, we're going to get through it, because after, we're hoping that we're going to see that sunlight at the end. And yeah, it is hope. Yeah, it's hypothetical because we don't know what's going to happen in football. But I believe in Ruben Amorim. I think because he's honest, he says the right things in terms of where we need to improve. He talks about the formation in terms of positions, striker, number 10, intensity in midfield, intensity at fullback. These are all key components of what made his team, Sporting Lisbon, so good. He had dynamic wing backs. He had attacking wing backs as well. Not feeling like you're playing with a back 5. Actually, you're playing with a back 3 with attacking fullbacks. You need energy in midfield. You're playing 2 midfielders, but effectively. You need 2 central midfielders that can get up and down the pitch, but also have technical security as well. We don't quite have that. We had Casemiro playing. His legs are done. Eriksen plays sometimes. His legs are done. Bruno can't really play there in midfield, if I'm totally honest. Kobe hasn't got the legs. So he's trying to play him in number 10, but then he's unfortunately got an injury. Man United need midfielders. We need number 10s that are dynamic, creative. And we need a number 9 that can score goals, because right now you're watching Man United that can't score goals. So Amorim's really trying to make it work with players that unfortunately don't really have the quality of a top team, but also the quality of playing in his formation, which demands a lot. So, like, let's give him a chance. He can make the errors, he can make mistakes, and he's learning on the job of these players and learning the job of the Premier League and the intensity and the competition and the levels and how high it is. I'm not going to be sitting here saying this in 12 months' time. I'm not going to do that because he's had enough time by then. But I can give him grace because I do think he says the right things in terms of where we need to improve. He does take accountability. And unfortunately, this team is just not good enough. So no matter what manager you have in, I don't expect Man United to be much different anyway. The quality is not that great. Just be truthful. The quality of this team is not that great. There's a handful of players that you'd be like, right, yeah, I'm happy to see you starting next season and then starting 11. If you could, and we had Saudi money, you'd be changing loads of it. you'd be changing so much of this team because you know that these players aren't good enough. So I'm willing to be patient with it and see what he can do between now and the end of the season. It's going to be really tough now, actually, because we're going to miss Kobe for a few weeks. Ahmad, who's been our bright spark, is actually out of the team now for the rest of the season, potentially. And he's the one that's really got the formation in terms of playing 10 and playing wing back. He's given us that creative spark. He's given us that energy, the moments, the special moments when you've needed it. Now we don't have that in Ahmad. So it's going to be hard for Ruben Amorim. And he's got to try and find a way to make it work. He's got to try and find a way to improve players. But also players have got to now try and step up and say, look, I can be counted. I want to be a Man United player. I want to fight for the badge. So there's a collective now that we're going to see Manchester United as a football club, manager and players tested. We've still got the Europa League, which I believe we could potentially win. We've got AZ Alkmaar or Galatasaray, I think, when the draw comes out this week. We can beat both them sides. I know Galatasaray would be tough. Alkmaar could still be tough, Dutch atmosphere. But Man United could still be looking at the Europa League and saying we can win that. And financially, we're probably going to need it if we want to see big players come in or big changes happen in the summer, because getting into the Champions League does help a lot financially. I think this team would be better off without Europe next season to give time on the training pitch. But at the same time, I think if that happens, we'll probably just drown Amorim even more, because we're not going to be able to get the players in and make the changes that we need as a football club. FA Cup, we won that last year. No one expected us to win that last year. We could do the same. Liverpool are out. Chelsea are out. Arsenal are out. There's a chance there that Man United could go far in the FA Cup. But for me, the Europa League has probably become the bread and butter now, because if Man United want to make wholesale changes in the summer in terms of the transfers, we're going to need that extra bit of money, because we're very short of money right now. And players need to leave and players need to come in. But I just want to be patient with Amorim, because, yeah, it's not great to see us lose games. Yeah, I'm not happy about it. Of course, no football fan's going to be happy watching us lose. But I can see that Man United are it's a change right now. It's a change right now. We've lost more than 50% of our games under Amorim. But I do believe that he's sticking by his principles, and we can get better with the right quality in the right positions. I think it can make such a difference. We never expected Forest to be in the top 4 race this year. We never expected Bournemouth to be 5th this year. It just shows that the quality of the Premier League right now, the gap is not that big. If you make the right changes, if you get a full pre-season under you, you can bridge that gap. And I'm not saying we'll be in the top 4 next season, Man United, but we can definitely be in that top 6, top 7, and start finding the consistency in the performances, players individually performing as well, the manager actually understanding now what he needs to do to get the better out of this team. I don't think a change of manager does anything. I'm not wanting to sack Amorim. I'm willing to give it time. This is Omar Barada's man. Ineos have gone out and got Ruben Amorim. This is the guy they wanted. Whether it was Tuchel, whoever the conversations were in the summer, forget that. They went out in November and said, Ruben Amorim, you're our guy. So they've got to give it time. They've got to back him and give him the best foundations to succeed in. Because I actually think Ruben Amorim's a good coach. Do I think that at times, he might show that he might be out of his depth in the future? That's a time will tell question. I hope he isn't. But obviously, coming from Sporting Lisbon to Man United, it's a big jump up. The expectation is higher. The pressure is higher. I hope that he can take that under his belt and use that as I want to prove people wrong. I don't want him to drown. I don't want him to suffer and go out bad. It can happen to managers. People don't know what it's like until you get here. But I believe that Amorim's a good coach. I believe he's a manager that knows what he wants. And I believe he's a manager that Man United fans have been crying out for. So you've got to give it time. You've had your Mourinho's, you've had your Van Gaal's, you've had your big name managers, and it's not quite worked. Now we're going for a new approach with a manager that has a plan, has a formation, believes in youth as well. Started off with Sporting Lisbon, it wasn't that great. Then he turned him into a Portuguese beast. So let's hope that he can do that at Man United. Guys, I just want to say calm down. Be patient. Give it a chance. Yes, he's making a few little individual errors, maybe with some players overplaying and maybe making in-game management subs. He can maybe make changes earlier. That's cool. They're all things he can learn from. They're all things he can improve on, especially when you get the quality as well. But please give Ruben Amorim a chance. Guys, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. Big up all the guys that are supporting the channel. I massively appreciate it. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on Ruben Amorim after a tough few weeks. Tough spell for Man United, and it's only going to get tougher. So guys, stick with the program. Stick with the plan. And I'll catch you on the next video. Big up.